Hello YouTube, and in this tutorial we are going to look at the Dimitri. So if you haven't watched the last tutorial, do watch. It's an introduction to the whole Kali Linux operating system. It's just a very basic introduction, and now let's get started. With using the tool called Dimitri. Now to tell you guys about Dimitri is an information gathering tool. So it's a tool which could be used to gather all publicly available information of hosts. For example, let's say for example google.com, facebook.com, all these types of websites and sub websites. So what all information available with respect to these with respect to any websites, okay, right? With respect to any website, what are information is available in public domain, Dimitri would try to extract those information. So let's get started with Dimitri. And now what you have to do is go to the leftmost corner of your screen and click on information gathering. So if you come down and if you see the mouse on the screen, it will show Dimitri. It shows a dark black color, specifying that the mouse is on the Dimitri. The mouse is kept on the Dimitri. So now click on Dimitri. Yes, this is what you will see. If some of you who are beginners, if you are shocked that you didn't see any graphical user interface, then I am really sorry for you. That Kali Linux is operating systems or any operations done using Kali Linux is or in general even Linux, any operations done is all via command line. So what is command line? What you're seeing right now in front of you is called command line, right? So Dimitri stands for Deep Information Gathering Tool. So here we have some information about the options and what could the following comments do. Like what do the following comments perform, right? That's what here we have some under the usage. And as you can see, -o, it is going to save the output, and -i is going to look up for IP addresses, about IP addresses, information about IP addresses in who is, and -w is going to look up for the same information but using the domain name of a host. And -n is going command can be used to retrieve information from netcraft.com about a particular host. It can be even IP address or website. So -s will crawl you all the subdomain of that particular domain. For example, google.com, and I'll show you here. You can put -s and type www.google.com. When you do this, you will get an error. What's the error? It's called as bash command not found. I'll tell you why. It's because we didn't see, this is a command line, right? This is a command line, but we didn't call any function. So now how should you call a function? It's like hey Google, saying hey Google. Instead of hey Google, we are going to say hey Dimitri, right? It's like this: Dimitri -s www.google.com. See, That's it. We have found 37 subdomains for the host google.com. Some of this you may know, for example, accounts.google.com, passwords.google.com, do.google.com. Some of you may be aware of this. Some of you may not be. But right now we know that Google has 37 subdomains. We don't know if exactly it's 37 or more, but probably it can't be less than 37. That's the assumption, right? I'll tell you why. Because here we know we use the word possible, which means we can crawl up to 37 subdomains. We don't know if more than that exists, but we are sure that there are 37 subdomains. That's why we use the word possible there. Now to the same Google, let's find any email addresses to Google, to the website google.com, which is publicly available. See, we found some email addresses for google.com, for website google.com. It's like security@google.com, highmanshoe@google.com, nothing@google.com, bar@google.com, and some others. We have found 7 email addresses for our host google.com. Now again, let's call Dimitri. It's called Dimitri, and let's say, and let's call Dimitri and say yes. Now let's call Dimitri and ask Dimitri to get information from netcraft.com for the same domain google.com. So we know that there is no publicly available information from Netcraft for google.com. Now let's call Dimitri to get as much as information available in public domain for the website google.com, right? What happened? We found some publicly available information for google.com, and we know that google.com's IP address is 26.258.203.196. That's the IP address of Google. And now instead of google.com, even if you type this IP address, you'll land up in Google. Just see here. Okay, this is the IP address, right? Now click enter. So it will take it to Google. So now we know that domain is google.com, and we now know that registration ID of the domain. Now we know now we got to know the registration ID of Google. This is the registration ID of Google, and we know that they have hosted their website under wait, what happened? And we even know that Google has registered their domain with markmonitor.com, and there is a very interesting history with markmonitor.com, which I will cover in next video. And so now we know from which source we got this information. The source is who is database.markmonitor.com. From that we got all this information, right? And we know that google.com came into existence in 1997, 9th month, on 15th, and this is the time when it came into existence. We got to know that, and we know that google.com domain will expire on 2028, 9th month and 14th. And for all of you who are new to all this, I'll tell you one thing: Google will renew it very soon. When the google.com domain is near its expiration date. And we know that Google has 4 name servers, namely ns1.google.com, ns2.google.com, ns4 and ns3. We have totally 4 name servers. So these are like, I'm just teaching you the tip of the iceberg, and we have, when we go in deep of all these topics, there's a lot to cover, right? And that's it. And now we know, we have come to an end. But what did we know from this particular comment, that is Dimitri-W google.com? So now we know that we got to know the web IP address of google.com. We know when it was registered, and to when is the domain name going to expire, with whom it is registered, and we even know the registered domain ID, and we even know how many name servers are there with Google, and when we use the e command to get the email address, we know some publicly available emails. So now, as we use the command -s with Dimitri, and we have got a lot of subdomains with their IP address, let's take out one subdomain. So to copy and paste in terminal, you have to use Ctrl+Shift+C, not just Ctrl+C, right? Now come down, and let's gather some information with this IP address rather than a domain name. Now let's again call Dimitri-I, and now to paste you have to use Ctrl+Shift+V. Now since we know a lot of subdomains and IP address, now let's take a random IP address from the known IP addresses of subdomains of google.com, and let's try to find information for that particular IP address. So this is very interesting, and let me take the IP address of myactivity.google.com, and to copy an IP address you have to use Ctrl+Shift+C. Now go down, and Dimitri, let's call Dimitri, and let's tell him to find information on IP address which we are giving. Okay, for very unknown and very strange reasons, I don't know why it's not getting copied. Okay, let me go there and let me make a note of this. Now let me take this IP address of developers.google.com. it's 216.58.196.78, right? Yeah. Now let's go down, scroll, and let's get information for this particular IP address. It's 216.58.196.78. Now let's click enter. wow, we found some information, but we don't know what we found out. And yeah, now we got to know that this particular IP address that is ranged to which one, which, I don't know which IP address. I forgot which IP address is it accounts 216, right? 216, yeah, it's developers.google.com. yeah, so now we got to know that this particular IP address, it is 216.58.196.78. this particular IP address is between a collection of IP addresses that starts from 46.126 up to 83.207.255. so we know that this particular IP address which we want to know information about is ranging between the highlighted IP address and just what I said before. And we know that this particular IP address is being used widely in the regions of Africa, Asia Pacific, North America and Latin America. And we know that this is EU, European Union, and its country is really wide. Okay, I don't know what that means anyways. That's the only thing I don't know what it means, and that's it. These I don't know. These information which I'm now highlighting, right? I don't think this particular information is valid for anything, literally anything. Valid in the sense it's not going to be useful. These can be useful, like where this particular IP address is operating. Those things can be useful. And even this, the range of IP addresses, this could be useful in certain cases. And now we know how to look up for an IP addresses. See, isn't it really amazing? In the beginning we asked Dimitri to get us information about the subdomains of Google, and it got us 37 subdomains with their IP addresses, right? That's a great information we have, but we didn't know anything about IP address. So what we did, we asked again Dimitri itself, Dimitri, please get me the information about this particular IP address. And when we asked it for developers.google.com for that particular subdomain, we got to know a lot more information about that particular subdomain, right? There's some specific cases, right? I will tell you the specific cases. There are cases where what information you got for a particular query, for example subdomain, whatever the IP address is associated, sometimes that IP address has nothing to do with that subdomain in itself. These cases has happened in the past, where IP address associated with that particular subdomain has nothing to do with that subdomain and not the company hosting. These particular cases has happened. So only whenever you get an IP address or any IP address for a domain or subdomain, try looking for information about that particular IP address itself, so you get more information about the IP address you have just received from the query. Yeah, that's it. Now we know how to search for subdomains, we know how to look up for IP addresses, we know how to look up for query, we know how to look up for query of the entire website itself, we know how to look up for emails, right? But we don't know how to save it, right? How to save it? When you click close, it disappears. Now when we closed, we don't know how to save it digitally. Is it saved anywhere? Let's say home. Is it saved anywhere? These are all okay, my files anyways. let's skip that separately. Is it saved anywhere? No, it's not saved. We forgot saving, right? But how do we save information we gathered? At least for Dimitri, it's very simple. So I'll tell you one method where you don't have to go to the information gathering and then choose Dimitri. This is not at all necessary to do. You can do in other ways. You can just open the terminal, and I can tell you with terminal you can do literally anything. Anything means anything. You can do literally anything. You can even call any application using terminal. You can even call Dimitri itself is terminal. Just type in as Dimitri, and now let's ask Dimitri to save. In the beginning of this video I told -o is used for saving, right? We'll ask Dimitri to save, and let's give the file a name. So we'll ask Dimitri to save to the file called create a file and then save it to a file called subdomains _ Google, and again we'll ask Dimitri to get all the subdomains. Okay, I'll ask Dimitri to save to this to this file called subdomain.google.com. but what will Dimitri save? I didn't tell Dimitri to save anything, right? I didn't give it any other further command to save anything. So now let me give a further command to save to tell Dimitri to save all the subdomains by initializing the command -s. I have now told Dimitri to save subdomains, but I didn't tell any website, any host, IP address, nothing. I told Dimitri. So now let me give a Dimitri to save all the subdomains of google.com, and we know google.com has 37 possible subdomains, and we even know what that word possible means with respect to subdomains. Now let's click enter. Awesome, it's done. See here, Dimitri told us it's writing output to subdomain _ Google, and we know what is the IP address of Google. This is the IP address of Google, and we know even had a view of all the subdomains of Google, and still we got, wow, now it says 39, right? Okay, before I think we got 37 subdomains. That's why I told you, that's why I stressed on the word possible. We don't know what could be the actual subdomains, so we use the word possible. Now all scans are completed, and go to your home, and now here is our data which is saved digitally, whatever we found. Here it is. See, we know the host name, we have the host name, host IP address, and we have all the information regarding the subdomain. We can even access this locally without an internet. We have now all information is stored. We know to which subdomain which IP address is associated, and if we gather information about the IP address using Dimitri-i command itself, we will know to which range of IP addresses this particular IP address was taken out from. I hope this is clear, and in the next tutorial video let's discuss more about Dimitri itself and clear off other concepts regarding to whatever is taught in this video. And I would like to thank all of you for patiently watching and learning from my video, and hope to see you guys again.